And under the guise of the greening agenda, it's a totalitarian, worldwide system called governance. Governance, not government. Because it's a new type of ruling the people. It's where panels of experts and scientists, etc., that are unelected will simply tell the politicians what to do. And that's happening. They're all appointed to every board, every parliament, every congress across the planet. These unelected scientists with NGOs to back them, non-governmental organizations. That's a new system. And governments have had the same problems all down through the millennia, whether it was kings or queens or tyrants or whatever. It's how to get the people to work for free their entire lives, and how to stop rebellions, and how to make the people slave for free and be happy with that. Now, Huxley was a guy himself who said that the people, if they use pharmacology on the public, coupled with psychology, that's propaganda via the marketers who understand the advertising, who understand the media. In fact, they are the media today. Everything out there in the media has a political agenda. They call it raising public awareness. When you hear that term, you're being told that this is the mandate and that you're going to parrot that one day. Whatever the mantra happens to be, it's going to become part of your conversation, and you will accept this mandate because your consciousness has been raised. I call it erasing, because if you'd think for yourself, you'd realize it's all a con. When they go out about and tell you they're raising public consciousness, they don't give you a choice, do they? To give a choice to people, you have to give them the whole story with all of the facts on any particular topic and let the person decide for themselves. We have a mountain of one-sidedness today. A mountain. No other opposing mountains, just one megalithic mountain. It's giving us all the spiel that comes across the mainstream media that parrots all back to us until we were all parroting as well. This is the techniques, they call it, the techniques of indoctrination, which are used perfectly today, perfectly, by mainstream media. And it's been that way for an awful long time, coupled with the fact that every new raising of public awareness starts with the school children. That's called indoctrination in idealism, for those who don't know that. When governments are indoctrinating children into a form of idealism, that is not what you normally take for granted as being given an education. That's being given an indoctrination. When you bring politics and agendas into the classroom, you are no different than any totalitarian society in history. No matter how you try and justify it, no matter what nice phrases you use, like it's for the common good and the welfare of all, etc. Evil is always dressed up as a beautiful thing. Because most folk, 80% of them, believe the front facade of the cake. As soon as they see it, they can't get any further, unfortunately. And when Bertrand Russell said in the 50s, the 1950s, we shall have to bring Madison Avenue on board because they understand the techniques, the Bernays techniques of making you do things you wouldn't normally do, or making you want things you normally wouldn't even buy. Advertising is a faith system, a faith-based system. That's what they sell you as hope. Hope. Everybody goes up through the same milestones in life. At certain ages, you hit a certain milestone, and you worry about this, you worry about that, and there's the marketers ready to hit you and clean you out by selling you hope. And for every fear they can drum up, they'll sell you a bunch of hope to go with it. And it never fails. Today it's the whole greening agenda. And And everybody in the media is on board with it. We're going to save the planet, but it's going to cost you. We're going to make it sure it goes green and stays green. We've got to stop global warming. We've got to stop terrorism. But you've all got to give up all of your rights in the process to do so. It's the mantra. Government is taking us, as I say, where government has always wanted us to go. That's why Orwell mentioned it in Animal Farm, where the humans say to the pigs, we've been trying to get the animals to work forever for free. You've done it successfully. Congratulations. Back with more after these messages. It says here, British NGO forecasts 5 brave new world scenarios set in 2030. Which is the mainstream media is reporting on what the world will be like in 22 years based on a fictitious account made up by a non-governmental organization known as Forum for the Future. You can look into this Forum for the Future. It's a very interesting site. Look at who's funding it. The big corporations, the military-industrial complex, in fact, are funding them. And governments, too. They also have a part there, if you look into all the links and what they're all about and so on, called Masterclass. Masterclass. You know, the natural elite with the right to rule your lives, they're called. They'll all be part of the Masterclass. They've got a Masterclass card. But it says here, the self-proclaimed charity committed to sustainable development, again a Rockefeller ideal, working on behalf of big business. The 76-page report titled Climate Futures, a Response to Climate Change in 2030 was created in collaboration with the Hewlett-Packard Labs. They outline the possible scenarios, 5 possible scenarios of what type of brave new world hell we could be living in by the year 2030. Efficiency first, service transformation, redefining progress, environmental war economy, and protectionist world. Each one has its own timeline, a make-believe history with wide array of things that may occur between 2009 and 2030 if we don't start making global warming our number one priority. They include artificially grown flesh to feed hundreds of millions. That's kind of like Soylent Green, isn't it? Cars run on batteries. That stuff was talked about in the 50s. Microwave weapons deterring hurricanes. They've got all that stuff now. A supercomputer named ALF-8 against ALF-8 making predictions. A global, so they'll have their own form of oracle, you see. These characters have always been into various things like channeling and horoscopes and all this kind of stuff down through the centuries if you follow the lineages. It says a global recession and global taxes. Well, we've got that already. And bionic games in California. The middle class is destroyed all over the world. Well, that's what they're doing, isn't it? Water shortages, food shortages, they're created too. Starvation, the rise of India and China, the fall of America, Russia freezing out Europe, and virtual Olympics. We have most of this stuff already. Famine in Southeast Asia, $400 a barrel oil, heat wave in Europe kills 200,000, and denying climate change is a thought crime, and conviction gets you deported to an international convict settlement. It's almost there already, isn't it? In fact, it will be because if you don't go along with climate change and pay your carbon taxes, you'll be a criminal, you see. And all the little children that are utterly brainwashed, again, by the big NGOs that sit and make up the curriculum for children, their indoctrinations. They're raising up an army of little Nazis. The perfect Nazis. Even Germany never had this kind of perfection in scientific indoctrination. It has been done today. This is a very brave new world indeed. The press describes climate futures as sketches of social consequences from today's global warming crisis that are based on studies and consultations with climate change specialists. It's astonishing. But then again, it's not really, since they have to find a method to get people into a war mode, a war on something. In a global society, you've got to find new enemies. So man himself is the enemy, according to the Club of Rome.